for this painting, I'm going to be using, let's see, I'm going to be using a large flat angled brush, but any large brush will do. And then a brush that I feel better about making smaller lines with, like I can draw with, so something maybe like that. Okay, but again, you can use whatever medium you have. We can just draw this thing together. And again, if you are not painting and you've got crayons or pastels, I recommend kind of outlining the cup and the flower just to like plan your space, and then you can fill in the background for around the drawing. But if you're painting with me with acrylics, then we're going to do the background first and just cover up the whole back of our painting. All right, so those of you who are just joining, thanks for your patience. Those who have been waiting for a few minutes, thanks for your patience as we get set up here. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Thank you so much to Camp Golden Pond for having me here and doing this Mother's Day tea and paint. I hope you all have your artistic materials and are ready to go, and maybe you have a sweet snack and a cup of tea. If not, we're going to be painting our own little cup of tea or daisy or whatever kind of flower you want. All right, so I'm going to grab my canvas. And for me in the original, I have this pink background, but you know what? This is your painting. You can do whatever color background you want, right? Depending on what kind of paints you have or materials you have. But if I'm going to be doing this pink background, I'm going to start with white paint. I'm just going to cover this whole canvas in white paint. Okay, super simple. So if you've got colored pastels, you've got your flower and your teacup drawn out, and if you do have color pastels, maybe you have a pink pastel, so you can just use pink, but I don't have pink paint, so I have to mix mine. But maybe you want to do just a pink pastel. But something also fun to do with colored pastels is covering your paper in white pastel and then seeing how you can get blendy with your other colors on top of white. So that might take a bit more time, but I know that when I use colored oil pastels or chalk pastels, it's kind of fun to cover your paper in white, and then when you put colors on top, those things can get kind of blendy and fun. So I'm just covering this whole thing here in white paint. And I do want to get blendy. So I'm gonna put a lot of paint on there. Not a whole bunch, but I don't want that white paint to dry very quickly. I don't want that to dry because I want to start getting blendy. All right. So that first step is pretty simple, right? So if I want to do pink, guess what color's coming next? Hello, happy Mother's Day. Welcome for you folks who are just joining. I hope you have your art supplies ready to roll. You have a snack, some tea. I loved looking at all those recipes that were being posted on the Friends of Golden Pond Facebook page. So I wonder if anybody tried out those recipes and you're having a nice sweet treat. As a thank you for Camp Golden Pond, don't forget to go to their website, friendsofgoldenpond.org, and maybe give them a little thank you donation for doing this event for Mother's Day. And happy Mother's Day to all you mamas and mommies and marmies and mama bears. This is your day. All right, so I've got my white base. I'm gonna go, my brush still has that white paint on it. I'm just gonna go into a little smidgy smooch of red. And in my original painting, I kept kind of vertical up and down strokes of my brush. Or you can do whatever you want, really. But I'm going to do vertical up and down strokes. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to grab some more red paint, and I'm going to continue to do this until I have the background that I want. You can do crisscrossy strokes. You know, it's up to you. And you don't need to go all the way down. You can if you want, but I'm gonna put my grass down there eventually, right? So we don't have to go all the way down. All right, and in the original painting, you probably can't tell, but I did use just a smidgy smooch of yellow on this side just to kind of give it a different pinkish color. So just a little smidgy smooch of yellow. Something like that to start with maybe, and just see what happens. Because I don't want it to turn necessarily orange, but I do just want to give it a different kind of feeling of pink. Get nice and blendy in there. We have a very, very soft pink. Might want to add just a little bit more color because I'm looking at the computer screen here and seeing that it doesn't read as very pink on the computer screen. So let's give a little bit more color there. Just going up and down, up and down. And if you get a streak that's kind of too strong, you can kind of smudge it out and go back to up and down, up and down. All right. So that's our background basically, and maybe you have a different color background, maybe you used a different kind of brush stroke, maybe you want a darker pink, but right now we want that to get as dry as possible. It doesn't have to be bone dry for our next step, but if you have lots and lots of glops of paint on your canvas, you're going to want to kind of wipe them around with your brush. Move that paint around. Okay? All right, for our next step, I want my brush to be nice and clean. So I'm going to wipe off this excess paint on a paper towel. Wipe off any excess paint. We always want to get that brush nice and clean before we clean it with water. There's no need to put a brush that's full of paint into a cup of water. So we can take off that excess paint, and now I can give my brush a nice good clean rinse in my cup of water. Okay, and I can wipe off that water. All right. Now, it shouldn't be too hard to cover this kind of background with any kind of color because this is pretty pale. So if you have a pale color with a lot of white, putting color on top shouldn't be a problem. But if you have a darker color, we definitely want to prime our teacup, okay? Meaning I want to paint this teacup in white as a first coat, as a base coat, because I want my teacup to be white. And if I put white on top of a color, it might show through. So I'm going to do my first coat of this teacup. All right. And you can start by drawing your teacup with a smaller brush or a pencil, but I'm just going to go in with my big brush here, because this teacup is super simple, right? It's basically like half of an egg. So I'm just going to do a little half of an egg here, or a little bowl. So you see that it's not quite perfectly white, which is why we want to do a first coat, right? So I'm just putting that teacup right in the center there. I've left some space down here for some grass. Because where else do you put your teacup? You put it in a nice bed of grass, really. All right. So I've got my teacup. I'm also going to put in my little handle, which is almost like a little ear, right? So I'm just going to pull out this ear on my teacup here for a handle. Something like that. Yeah? Okay. And what's great about when you prime your teacup is it doesn't have to be perfect at this point, right? We can outline it. We're going to outline it later on. So if you don't like your teacup shape, you can kind of outline it differently later. So this is just to give ourselves a nice first base coat so we can put on another coat later, and that will be nice and bright and white. Something like that. Cool. All right. While we're letting that set and dry, let's move on to the grass. Okay, so we can have some grass for this teacup to sit on. So I do have a lot of glops of paint on here. So I'm going to wipe that off on my paper towel. And yeah, let's be good and rinse our brush. I'm going to clean my brush off. Welcome, welcome. Happy Mother's Day if you're just joining us. My name is Jackie, and I'm happy to be a guest here at the Facebook page of the Friends of Golden Pond. We had planned this event for quite some time, back in February, I believe. So we're sad that we're not at camp right now, but thanks to Facebook Live and the internet, we're all having Mother's Day together virtually. So I'm happy you're here. Those of you who are joining, if you haven't already, you might want to check out friendsofgoldenpond.org. And as a thank you, send them a couple of dollars. We're suggesting $10 for painting with us today. All right, let's do this grass. I've got only blue, red, and yellow. And to make green, I need some blue. And on the count of 3, what do I need to add to blue? 1, 2, 3. Yes, yellow. So I'm going to add some yellow here. Get a nice green, any kind of green that suits your fancy. I like using different shades of green. So those of you who are using colored pastels or oil pastels, chalk, see if you can mix different greens by using greens and blues and yellows together. So maybe like start with like a straight green color. And I'm just kind of pulling up grass. You can do from bottom up and just pull up blades of grass, or you can go top down and pull them down. But I like using different shades. So I've got that one kind of green, and I can change it up by adding some more yellow. And then I'll have a nice lighter, brighter green. Oh, absolutely. I'm glad you said that. I wanted to say that too. This will make a great Mom's Day present, or really any kind of present. It's nice and fun and cheery for spring. Anybody you know who just loves tea, I can see this hanging in someone's kitchen. And maybe yours isn't a teacup. Maybe it's a coffee cup. I know some of you girls out there know your mom loves coffee. So, see, I like adding different shades of green. It gives it some different depth, makes it a bit more interesting. And if you have those oil pastels, if I had oil pastels, I would go over with green blades of grass, and then I would grab a yellow and just throw in some yellow strokes in there. Yeah, oil pastels are super fun. And let's see, maybe I'll add even more yellow and go for an even brighter yellow. Why not? I'm looking out the window right now and I see a lot of clouds, so I need some color today. Celebrating Mother's Day. All right. So something like that. That's fun. And now that we've got this green on our brush, we're in a good position because we can take advantage of that green and use it for our stem and our leaves. Again, our teacup is still drying, so I'm just going to start at the top of my cup, right? And for me, I'm just gonna curve out this stem. And my background is nice and dry, so that green is going over pretty nicely. And I'm definitely going to have to mix some more green. So I'm just mixing some more of that green together so I can get a thicker, clearer stem here. There we go. And you can have whatever flower you want, right? I have this kind of purple daisy. You can have a white, bright daisy. You can have a black-eyed Susan. You might want a tulip or a sunflower. Maybe ask Mom what her favorite flower is if you don't know already. All right, so I've got my stem, and I'm gonna add 3 leaves. I'm gonna add 3 leaves there. And you'll notice that later we're gonna outline everything in black. So we're not outlining anything right now. I wanna get all my colors down first, and then we can outline. And what's fun about this kind of painting is if you don't wanna outline it, you don't have to. The outline will make it kind of bold and fun, right? But maybe once you're done with your stem and your leaves, maybe you're gonna think, hey, I actually don't want to outline this. I kind of like it the way it is, and that's totally fine. I'm gonna put a leaf there and a leaf here. The big flat angled brushes work great. I just kind of press the tips and pull into a little leaf shape, and that's super simple. The brush kind of does the work for me here. All right. Grab some more of my green paint, and I've got another leaf up here. So if you're wondering what kind of brushes should I get if I want to start painting with acrylic, a flat angled brush is my brush of choice because I can cover a canvas in it very quickly, and I can also get an edge and a point to that kind of brush. All right, so I've got my stem and my leaves, and just to get my leaves a little bit more interesting, I'm gonna mix a lighter green, so I'm gonna add some more yellow to that green, maybe even just a smidgy smooch of white. And I'm gonna paint half of each leaf in this lighter color, and I don't know if you can see it in the original, but I have like I have a different shade of green, it'll just give those leaves a little bit more dimension. And I'm going to make that a little bit lighter and brighter so you can actually tell the difference. All right, there we go. So I'm just adding that lighter green to the, I guess, the bottom half of these leaves. Maybe just get a little bit more interesting, a little bit more highlight, a little bit more shadow. Alrighty. Cool. It looks like we planted a little seed and it's just growing right now. And now we're gonna make it bloom. How about that? So for me, I'm going to mix a light lavender for my petals. Okay, so I'm gonna start by making a purple. How about that? I'm gonna start by making a purple, but first, because I want to use this brush, I'm gonna wipe off that excess paint. Wipe off that excess paint, and then I can give my brush a nice good clean rinse. I hope you all are having a good Mother's Day so far. Maybe you started your day with a nice breakfast. I bet you some kiddos probably cooked some breakfast today. All right. Well, I just put my paper towel in a glop of white paint, and it's all over my fingers now, so that's fun. Okay, so I'm gonna mix a purple. I don't have purple paint with me today, so I'm gonna mix purple. And what do I need to make purple? I need red and blue. So I'm gonna grab some red, grab some blue, and I get a purple, but I want a nice lavender, so I'm gonna grab some white. Ooh, that's kind of fun. That's different than the color I have in the original, but I kind of like that. Ooh, I don't know. I kind of like that. That's bluer than the petals I had here. But I like that. I don't know. Maybe add a little smidge red. All right, so I've got my petal color. Maybe you have a different petal color. If you want white petals, just like we did with our mug, you're gonna wanna prime those petals first. In other words, you're gonna wanna do a base coat for white petals, like if you're doing a white daisy. All right, if I go to my original, how many petals do I have? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 petals. So maybe this means that the other petals fell off, but for me, it just means that they're kind of tucked behind. I can't see them right now. They're kind of in the background, but I'm going to do 6 petals. You can do however many you like. All right. So I'm going to kind of start up and away from my stem here. And I'm just going to pull out one petal lives there. And sister lives right here. Ooh, this is definitely a different purple than my original, right? A little darker. That's kind of neat. So we can have, if I wanted to match that original color, I would just add some more white and even a touch of red. Kind of lighten that up. But this is my painting. I can have different petals if I want. All right, and 2 more up here. Something like that. Now, I have a feeling that Girl Scouts know the names of flowers. So these are our petals. And I always forget what you call the center part of a flower. Is it the stamen? I don't know. But for the center part of our flower, I'm going to make a darker purple. So I'm going to kind of go back to that first purple I did. So grab some more of that red, grab some of that blue, and I've got this dark purple. And it's basically like a circle, or even a half circle, kind of like a gumdrop. And I'm gonna sit that right in the center there. Something like that. I'm gonna add a little bit more red to that because I don't know, it's a little too blue. There, something like that. Oh, by the way, I can't wait to see your pictures of your paintings. So whenever I do a live painting, I invite and encourage you to take pictures of your paintings and then post them right here in the comments to this video. I love seeing them. They make me so happy. So please don't forget to take pictures and share your art. Post it here in the comments on this video. It makes me really, really happy to see everybody's artwork. Alrighty. I think we're looking good, guys. What do you think? So, I mean, you've got a painting right now, right? And now we're just gonna add some details. We're gonna add some details and really make this pop. Really make this painting pop. All right, so I'm gonna check my teacup here. So your teacup maybe is not bone dry, but it's probably dry enough that we can give that a nice second coat of white. So I'm gonna wipe off the excess paint from my brush, which I've already done, and I'm gonna give this brush a nice good clean rinse. Want a nice clean brush for my next coat on this mug. And I will get this brush nice and dry too after cleaning. All right. So I'm just going to give this teacup another coat of white. Another coat of white paint. Nice and bright. Kind of get in between those little blades of grass. It doesn't have to be perfect. Especially because I'm going to do a little bit of outlining on my grass and everything else in my painting. That's the other great thing about outlining, is you can kind of cover up things that you don't like. Go over my little ear for my handle. All right. How about it? Looking good, feeling good out there, folks, I hope. All right, we've got that coated, right? And now I'm going to, let's see. Let's do it. Let's go for some outlining. So if you don't want to outline right now, then you get a little break. But actually, let's see. What do I want to do? I think I'm gonna prime my little bumblebee, because I want that to go down nice and bright and yellow. So before I do my outlining, I'm just gonna prime my bumblebee in white, and that means I'm just painting a little oval, a little egg on my flower there, so I know that my bumblebee will go on nice and bright and yellow once I get there. Okay, so that's all I've done. I've gone over my teacup in a second coat, and I've just given a little oval there as a base coat to my bumblebee. Okay, now wipe off excess paint. I'm going to give this brush a good clean rinse, and I'm going to move on to a small brush, one that I feel good about making lines with. Again, you don't have to do the outlines, but that's what I'm going to do. I actually really like this part because it kind of makes everything pop. It becomes a nice, bright, fun painting just with some outlines. All right, so I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use this guy actually. It's a small flat angled brush, so just a smaller cousin of the larger one I was working on. But any small brush will do. A nice round pointed one, anything you've got. All right, so I'm going to start at my, let's start from the bottom up. How about that? I'm going to very, very quickly, I'm not fussing here with the grass. I'm just going to do very quick sketches of lines and also the little tips of the grass. So again, I'm not fussing. I'm just kind of doing squiggly outlining of the grass. Nothing fancy, nothing perfect, right? Just kind of giving little squigglies for the tops of our grass there. In other words, I'm not taking the time to like individually outline every single blade of grass perfectly. That would take me too long. And I prefer kind of doing things quickly. That's just kind of what I like to do as a painter. And just even a little dry brush, little scratchy up and down lines for our grass. And then there we have the grass. It just kind of pops now. How about that? So yeah, don't worry about your grass being perfect. For example, I have an outline here that is, it has no grass in it. It's just pink. And I totally don't care about that. It kind of makes it fun to me. A nice little fun painting. All right. Now I'm going to skip my teacup for now because it is still white, is still wet with that white paint. But I'm going to carefully outline my stem. I think I literally just held my breath. Don't forget to breathe. There we go. Whew. And then my leaves. And a little line in the middle of my leaf. Something like that. Fun. Yeah, I like outlining it. I think it makes it fun and vibrant. I'll just take a little break here in case anybody needs to catch up. How's everybody doing? Sorry, I just took a little drink from my water bottle here. Can't wait to see all these final products. Just gonna outline my other leaves here. And don't worry about perfect black lines. So you can see maybe here that the paint got a little light and sketchy and it's not a perfect line. That's totally fine, right? I kind of like that actually. You can maybe see it better here. You can see that, you know, my black lines are not perfectly solid, and that's fine with me. That's what I like. So don't worry if your lines aren't perfect, right? Certainly nature is not perfect. It's perfect in its imperfection. How about that? Alrighty. So I've got my stem outlined. I've got my leaves outlined. We started with our grass. Now I'm gonna go up into my petals here. Outline those. How about that? Yeah, I think the outlines kind of make this pop. And some of you might be wondering, well, why didn't you outline it first? So I would do that if I were using crayons or oil pastel, but because we're using paint, I wouldn't want to get my purple petals or my green stem mixed in with a black outline. I could let it dry and then do it, but that would take a while, and then I would still might have some issues with some of that black. So when I do an outline painting, I usually go in reverse and I do the painting and then I outline it. That's just me. All right, I got my petals outlined. I'm gonna go around the center part. Right there. And now I believe I'm at a point where my teacup is a little, it's not bone dry, but it's nearly there. So for me, I did a teacup that has a black band at the top, and then just some black polka dots. You could do whatever you want for your teacup. That's why I'm really excited to see your final finished products, because I know that y'all are really creative and have fun ideas about what you want your cup to look like. So, but I'm just gonna do my black rim and polka dots. But first, I am going to outline. Like that. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Here's my handle. Whoop. Something like that. And then I'm going to do this band at the top again. So I'm just gonna go across and fill that in with black. But you can do any color, any pattern you want, right? You can see my white paint has not completely dried, so I'm turning a little bit gray, but that's all right, because black will go over top of gray once it's dry, no problem. All right, I'm gonna add polka dots. I do like those polka dots. But you could do whatever kind of design you like. And again, my white paint is not 100% dry, but that's all right, because black paint will go over that no problem later on. I do like polka dots, they're kind of fun. definitely dry over here. That went on much better. How about that? All right. I don't know. I kind of like the gray because it looks like the light is shining on it. So that's kind of a happy accident. All right. Now let's I'm gonna hold on to this brush with the black on it, but I'm gonna move on to a different brush so I can quickly fill in our bumblebee with some yellow. And that prime should be nice and dry. So I'm just gonna go over that bumblebee's body. I'm gonna wipe off that excess yellow paint. And because this is pink, the red should go over nice and easy. I'm gonna just draw a little red circle for our ladybug. Little ladybug goes right here. How about that? Like a red M&M. There we go. All right. Now we get to have some fun with our little insect friends here. All right, I'm going to put that brush to the side. So back with my paintbrush that I use for the black outlining, I'm going to outline this bee, outline the body. Nice and easy. And then I'm going to give it a head. Just a little black dot in the front. And he gets to have antennae. Cute. And some stripes. He's earned his stripes. And a little stinger. And then just for fun, I like doing the little squiggle. I think it's just super cute and fun to add little squiggles for bumblebees. So I'm just doing a kind of a dotted line with a little curly Q. Like that. Super cute, right? Oh, I think this would look super cute in a kitchen that has fun, bright colors, or in a playroom, or grandma's house. Maybe if you don't live with grandma, you can mail this to grandma. All right. This is just a fun painting. I'm so glad we did this today. We're almost done. We got to do this ladybug, but this was so fun, especially... It's still pretty cloudy where I am, so this was a nice break to get some color in our day and have some tea and maybe some scones and cookies and just have some fun with Mom on Mother's Day. I'm going to outline this ladybug with my black paint. Okay. And then ladybug head is just a little half circle, right? So you can see better. So I outlined the ladybug. Ladybug head is just a little half circle at the top. She gets to have little antennae too. Boop. And of course, give her wings. So just a line down the middle to show that she's got two wings. And of course she gets her spots. Maybe that's why I like my spots on my mug, because it reminds me of the ladybug. I do love ladybugs and I do love bumblebees. All right, guys. How about it? A nice little fun painting for Mother's Day. I'm going to go over these dots because I can't help myself. But yeah, maybe you're not done, and that's totally fine. Maybe you're still working on your awesome designs. You're working on your bumblebee or your ladybug. Have fun with this one, guys. This is a nice, fun, bright painting for Mother's Day. I hope all you moms and daughters who did this together had fun. Thank you, Megan, for having me. Of course, it's a shame that we all can't be together at camp doing this painting together there. But this was great fun for me. I hope it was a nice break for you guys. Again, happy Mother's Day to all you moms out there. All your mamas and grandmas and aunts and all those folks out there who are just rock stars. And a reminder, please check out the friendsofgoldenpond.org webpage. Just throw them some dollars as a thank you for doing this little event. Oh, thanks, hi, friend from Kentucky. Thanks for being here, Molly. Yeah, so I'd love to see those photos of your final products in the comments. It always makes my day. Otherwise, do your final touches, finish up, have fun. Happy Mother's Day. Thanks for having me. And this is Jackie with Paint with Jackie on the Friends of Golden Pond Facebook page. And have a great day.